After shocking revelations expose a federal plot to sabotage Lil Durk's legal case, the rap star has now reportedly been awarded a staggering $25 million in compensation from the court, a historic twist that might finally restore his name and change everything. When the world thought it had heard it all, when fans were already reeling from discovery that Lil Durk's legal files had been tampered with by a rogue group of federal agents, another bombshell dropped. The court had finally ruled in Durk's favor, not only acknowledging the foul play, but also rewarding the rapper with a mind-blowing $25 million settlement for the years of injustice, psychological trauma, career damage, and personal ruin he suffered. What we're witnessing is not just a courtroom drama. This is rap history unfolding in real time, a redemption arc unlike any other. Let's rewind a bit. You remember what triggered this whole mess. Lil Durk, a prominent figure in the drill rap movement and one of the biggest names to ever rise out of Chicago, was facing what looked like a lifetime behind bars. Court cases had stacked up, and everything pointed toward a guilty verdict. The evidence? Overwhelming. The pressure? Immense. Public opinion? Divided. But behind the scenes, something much darker was at play. It wasn't just about charges. It was about sabotage. It all started unraveling when hidden conversations between Lil Durk and his fallen brother, King Von, were brought into the light. Not by coincidence, not by strategy, but by a twist of fate or maybe divine timing. You see, King Von, before his tragic death, had held a private conversation with Durk. It wasn't just any conversation. It was an oath. Von, knowing the streets were watching him, knowing that his life was in danger, made Durk swear on OTF, only to family, that if anything ever happened to him, Durk would not retaliate, would not seek revenge, and would stay focused on the music, the vision, and the legacy. Now here's where it gets wild. This very conversation was recorded. A private moment between brothers turned into the centerpiece of a legal revolution. It showed the court, the jury, and the entire world that Durk wasn't the violent criminal the prosecution painted him to be. He was loyal. He was principled. He was deeply bonded to the code of his circle. But even more shocking was how this conversation brought to light the deeper conspiracy. Because the defense, while reviewing the call logs and timestamps, discovered that critical documents and evidence had been either misfiled, erased, or rewritten altogether. The inconsistencies were glaring. It didn't take long for the defense team to start asking questions. And once they pulled the thread, the entire sweater unraveled. Federal agents, corruption, tampering. The whole thing read like a thriller novel. According to internal reports, a group of rogue law enforcement officers had intentionally sabotaged evidence in Durk's case, altering files to strengthen the prosecution's hand. Why? Theories range from political motivations to deeply embedded bias against rap artists, especially those who rose from the streets to superstardom. Either way, their actions nearly destroyed a man's life. And here's where the comeback begins. Once the judge was shown proof of the tampering, once the media caught wind of what had gone down, everything changed. Suddenly, the narrative flipped. Lil Durk wasn't the criminal. He was the victim. Outrage swept through the hip-hop world. Artists spoke out. Legal experts chimed in. Fans flooded social media. Hashtags like #FreeDurk and #JusticeForDurk trended globally. There was pressure from all sides, and the court could no longer stay silent. After a lengthy hearing and intense deliberation, the court not only threw out the tampered evidence, but launched an investigation into federal agents involved. Several were arrested. Charges were filed. And most importantly, Lil Durk's name was finally being cleared. But the court didn't stop there. In a move that sent shockwaves to the entire entertainment industry, the court awarded Lil Durk $25 million in damages. You read that right. $25 million. The amount wasn't just a figure. It was a message. A message that the justice system, flawed as it may be, had recognized the weight of what was done to him. Years of lost opportunities, brand deals shelved, stadium tours canceled, public image shattered. Not to mention the psychological toll, the sleepless nights, the paranoia, the fear of spending life behind bars for something he didn't do. That $25 million is not just money, it's validation, it's reparations. It's proof that sometimes Even when the system fails you, the truth can still break through. Sources close to Durk say he broke down in tears after the ruling, not because of the money, but because for the first time in a long time he felt free. Free of the weight, free of the lies, free of the fear. And what's next for Durk? Well, word on the street is he's already planning to use part of that money to launch a legal defense fund for wrongfully accused black men and women. That's right, Durk isn't just walking out as a rich man, he's walking out of it as a symbol of change. In a recent studio session leak, Durk reportedly said, "They tried to bury me, but they didn't know I was a seed." That bar alone tells you where his head is at. He's not angry, he's inspired. He's not looking for revenge, he's ready for a renaissance. And the industry? It's watching closely. Since the news of his court win and compensation hit the internet, multiple labels and brand partnerships have already reached out. The man who once had his future in limbo is now the hottest ticket in town. Major labels, streaming platforms. Even Netflix is rumored to be interested in a docuseries chronicling the entire case, from arrest to acquittal. Social media has exploded with support, from Drake to Meek Mill, from Lil Baby to 50 Cent. The entire hip-hop community is standing behind Durk. But what about the streets? That's where things get even more interesting. Sources from Chicago say Durk's old enemies are laying low. Why? Because this case just showed how deep his loyalty and resilience run. He didn't fold. He didn't break. He stood tall, even while being framed, and that kind of integrity in the streets is gold. Some even say this whole ordeal has elevated Durk to legend status, on par with some of the greats. Not just because of his music, but because of what he survived, what he overcame. He went from being seen as a liability to becoming a symbol of resilience. From a headline to a hero. Now here's the bigger picture. Lil Durk's story is no longer just a cautionary tale. It's an example. It's a mirror being held up to the entire justice system and saying, you don't get to ruin lives and walk away clean. And as for those federal agents who tampered with his files, their careers are over. Their reputations are ruined. They now face the very system they once manipulated. Ironic, isn't it? Meanwhile, Durk is back in the studio, back on the road, back in his bag. And with $25 million in his pocket and a clean slate to his name, the possibilities are endless. He's already been spotted in Atlanta, reportedly in meetings with major producers. And there are whispers of a surprise album dedicated to King Von and the entire saga, an album that could shake the industry and rewrite the narrative of street rap once again. And if you thought his pen was dangerous before, imagine the fire that's coming now.